Hmm.
And the stories that you've heard, whether it's about lights in the sky or whether it's about people being taken, which road do you find important to write on? And why have you followed that topic?
So my favorite uh, thing to write about regarding UFOs is what they mean to us and what UFOs do to our culture. So, for example, there's this theory that Terence McKenna has that UFOs are actually hallucinations, uh, and it's the universe trying to tell us that we're on the wrong path with rationalism and science. That science and rationalism have become so pervasive that we're no longer in touch with our what he calls like our divine feminine, our like more emotional selves. And that so now when we're seeing things that science can't explain, such as UFOs and Bigfoot or whatever, it's actually just manifestations of our consciousness, like trying to shake our foundations and change our ways. Of course, his solution was take psychedelics. Psychedelics will, teach you everything and then you'll stop hallucinating UFOs. But I think those kinds of things and those ideas about the folklore and the way people interact with the aliens is really compelling.
What would happen if someone like Lou Elizondo came out and said, look, you can't have one without the other? It's not UAP over here and aliens over there. They're one of the same. What do you think the impact to the UFO community would that be?
Um, what do I think the impact would be? Uh, I don't want to say chaos. I want to say you know what? Of the people that I know that I've talked to, I would just say excitement. Um, that's what I would say. I don't necessarily like when I envision this kind of stuff. I really don't know if things are going to go good or bad or crazy or calm. Um, it's really hard for it's just this journalist in me. I'm just like I don't have the information, so I can't I can't tell you. It's so hard. I'm trying to wildly speculate for you, but I'm kind of crapping the bed on that.
I understand that, but I think that the segregation point, in order, I know we've already discussed that, but I think if they ever brought the two subjects together, it would be, I agree with you. I don't think from the politicians on down that they would know how to handle that outside of them knowing from a top secret point of view.
Well, I mean, I guess. Well, here, let me just ask you the question. What do you think would happen?
I think there would be a lot of people denying it. There would be a lot of people who immediately either jump on the Elizondo bandwagon or jump off the bandwagon. I believe that the scientific community would go haywire. I believe the mainstream public wouldn't care because there's no aliens landing on the White House lawn. And, getting that specialized coffee at Starbucks or their microbrewery IPA is way more important than some guy who ran a top secret program at the Pentagon coming out and saying, by the way, aliens are here. You know what I'm saying? I think it would be a real mixed bag.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just like that with everything. I mean, it's like with the Bigfoot stuff, right? I mean, people are already at odds. If you do something else, they're just going to still be at odds. It's just like nobody's ever going to agree. Not until we reach some sort of collective enlightenment, maybe after the singularity, when we're all machine human hybrids.
Okay, well, let's change the topic on this a little bit. Same topic, kind of a different path. What do you
Mhm.
think has to be done, both reporting wise and let's stick with the reporting wise, in order to get the mainstream public to understand that this is an extremely important topic that they should be paying attention to?
Yeah. Well, I would say you have to start um, paying more credence to the reports, even if they seem like they might seem insane. I think that people will approach uh, those who have seen UFOs, like regular people who send in their videos, like often they're made fun of. I think that would have to stop, um, especially now that we are 100% for sure in society that UFOs are real. I think that more empathy needs to emerge in the reporting, and I think that we need to see more stories and more first person experiences. I would like to see that.
Is the public ready for those first person experiences? I mean, they are on cable television. That's
Hmm.
why this type of programming is some of the highest rated programming ever over the last 15 years. The public wants it, but there's a difference between watching it on so called reality TV and
Hmm.
having it all of a sudden front and center in your daily lives. Look, plagues have been around for centuries. We all know that plagues come around every few, every century or so. And look at the way we've handled this. We haven't been too, we've been a little careless, to put it in proper English,
Hmm.
right? So how are we going to react?
Well, I don't know if they would ever put a first person account on a front page for anything. I think I think that they might. What I'm saying is they should start integrating it more into the body of the pieces, right? I think that would be a good way to slowly integrate and get people more comfortable with discussing these kinds of things. I mean, I think it's really brave that people in the military came out and said like this really happened and we saw this and we don't know what it is. I think that's insanely brave. And
But in the UFO community, sorry for cutting you off,
that's
there is
okay.
a great number in the UFO community who think those guys are full of bunk.
Hmm. Well, that's again, it all just comes back to opinion. Everybody's got an opinion on something. And people sit around and criticize constantly, but it's like this is a step forward for you. Just be happy about it. Before this wasn't even a thing. It's like not everything's going to happen perfectly. In fact, nothing happens perfectly. So just like, be glad. We're making a step forward. One small step for man, I guess.
That's one way to put it. That's one way to put it. You know, do you have a favorite UFO story that you've written about that you'd like to share?
A favorite one? Hmm, not really. Honestly, well, you know what? Wait, maybe that's not true. I would say that um, I would say my favorite UFO stories are around the UFOs that are over fires because I think that's really compelling. Like there was like the Woolsey fire in LA. It was in like 2018, I think. And like there was this object that just like looks like it was going by in the background, right? And it was going really fast. It was really big, and none of the reporters recording the fire from the helicopter said anything about this thing going by. And when you look at it, it's going like way too fast to not be some sort of like craft of some sort, right? And then I know that somebody called in and asked the I can't remember what network it was that was covering it, but they asked their like what is that thing? And they said, "Oh, it's just a ship. It was just the angle. It was actually over water." But it was strange because you actually couldn't figure out like how that could have been over water and like how nobody could have noticed it, right? And then also like UFOs, like the Tic Tac UFOs kind of like going in and out of clouds, right? Over fires. Like you sort of catch them sort of going by. To me, that's really freaky because that like if aliens were real, if UFO or even if aliens weren't real, and we had this like unidentified craft like flying over and starting fires, especially now with everything that's happening in California and whatnot, that's scary. That is freaky.
Sovereign is asking if you know anything about the UFO over the Jesus fire in Santa Barbara that purportedly started the fire.
No, I didn't hear about that one. But now I know. I could, even if I did, I couldn't tell you if it was real or not. But that is very spooky. Thank you for letting me know.
See, I am of the opinion that, I'm not sure what's happening. We see a lot of UFOs around volcanoes. That has been seen everywhere there's volcanic activity. Even if the volcanoes are dormant, they seem to be flying around. I mean, that's where the majority of the sightings are around along the West Coast, from Alaska straight down to Mexico. So do you think that maybe, just maybe, they're looking at it as a power supply, or as, is it just coincidence that they happen to be seen over these volcanoes? There's people who think that volcanoes maybe have some sort of portal action.
Well, I'll give you the scientist answer. So I know that a lot of these UFOs reported around volcanoes and mountainous areas are cloaked in clouds. And I know people have the idea that alien technology would be able to manipulate the atmosphere to disguise themselves in the clouds as these saucer shapes. But actually, the way that the wind blows and like gets sucked up and everything, the way that is around mountains and volcanoes, it forms something called lenticular clouds. So you're actually seeing these shapes that look like UFOs, but probably aren't. And they happen a lot around mountains and volcanoes. So who knows if it is real, and aliens are real and they are hovering around it. I mean, I can't even fathom how they use it as a power source. What are they doing? Like, what's the actual process? I would love to know more about that. But yeah, I don't know.
I just want to know if they're being taxed on the fuel.
Ah.
Because if they're not, we're getting ripped off. That's just my opinion.
These are the questions, important questions.
These are the important questions out there. But if in everything that you've read about it, as we got about a minute and a half to go before we go to break at the top of the hour, do you think they are a threat? That's another big debate for the UFO field, is the threat phenomena.
I think UFOs are for sure a threat, because even if they aren't aliens, we don't know what they are. And they seem to be flying in areas that are very populated. So I would say that we should be concerned about what they could do to us, for sure.
But they haven't harmed us yet.
They have not, except, of course, for the people who say they've been probed in the anus. If
Well, I'm not saying that every alien is a good alien. There are the Marvin the Martians out there that want to use their Pu-36 space modulator to blow up our planet.
Sure.
I get that, and we do have those who seem to have a vested interest in human anatomy, namely the butthole, right? But when we look at it, and maybe we'll take this into the break, when we look at it, we don't know, maybe because we've never seen the stats, we don't know if there's been anybody killed by UFOs. We don't know if any military aircraft have been attacked. There's rumors of it, but until it comes out, we really don't know. And that is, all subject for speculation. And that's all we have to go by. Chrissy, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. We have Chrissy Elliott for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio in Hour 3. We'll continue on with our UFO talk. We'll see what other weird stories she's got into when we come back, along with the SOR News Wire and the Thought of the Dave. Spaced Out Radio continues with Hour 3 next. All right, we're clear. I'm just going to run my dogs outside. I'll be right back, okay?
Okay.
We like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the story you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines Report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckford, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales.
All right, we're back. We're going to be on in just under 2 minutes here.
Cool.
Hello, Corrance, the booking guy. When we get to the break at the bottom of the hour, just stick with me, if you don't mind, through the break, and then I'll say goodnight to you properly. Cool? Cool. All right, we got 1 minute.
All these people are sending me tweets about sex and aliens.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Thank you, listeners.
Love it, you all. Thank you. We'll have to check these out.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Appreciate the stalking from our crowd here. All right, we're coming back in 15 seconds.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway tonight. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really appreciate earning your listening ears. We welcome in everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Talalgia. Talalgia is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce journalist Chrissy Elliott. She is one of the bright young minds covering this field of UFOs, Bigfoot, everything strange in between. You can find her blog and website at hotalien.com if you want to check it on out. Chrissy, welcome back.
Hey.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, man.
Strange stories. You've covered a number of them. Mm-hmm. Which ones do you enjoy the most?
Oh, that's so hard. Well, I will say one of my favorite weird science stories that I ever reported on was the mind-controlling fly fungus. That one is just so scary to me. So basically, there's this fungus, and the scientific name for it is something like Entomophthora muscae, I believe is how you say it. And it's Greek for the destroyer of insects. And basically what happens is it's this cream-colored like schmutz that sort of attaches itself to the body of a fly. And then it takes over the fruit fly's brain, okay, and nervous system. So within about 2 days of infection, it starts eating all of the fatty tissue and starving the fly from the inside out, okay? And then all of these like fat stores are absorbed by the fungi, and then the destroyer, that's what we're calling it, you know, this this fungus, it eats all of the organs, and then the creepiest thing about it is that it makes all of the flies go up to the highest point that they can find, like a tree, like branch, leaf, whatever, so that the fly will bend over, open up its wings above itself, and then the fungus will explode out of its back, and then the spores will be able to fall all over the place. And so the fungus knows how to control the fly and control the fly's mind so that all of the flies do the exact same thing and fly up to the top and have it explode out of their backs with their wings up. That is so scary to me, but it is one of the coolest, most metal things I've ever heard. I just thought that was such an amazing, amazing thing. And that's real. That's like a legit thing, you know. Yeah.
Okay, so when you're looking for weird, odd stories to cover now, like that, is it about finding the balance of information, or is it about telling the wild story around the world around us?
Well, honestly, I mean, when I sit down to write everything, I always try to be balanced. But really, I mean, I'm interested in good stories and things that I find interesting. I don't really want to write about stuff that doesn't make me like want to get up in the morning. I mean, we all have to do that to a certain extent. A certain extent, we do things for money that are boring all of the time, right? But I really do try to tackle topics that help to change our perspectives on things, and not necessarily instill fear, but like to go, oh my God, that's really metal. I guess I'm just always looking for the most metal story I can possibly find.
Okay, so if we take it from an alternative view of UFOs, Bigfoot, is there a story that you want to cover that you have heard that you just want to get to the bottom to?
Yeah, so actually recently I saw some murmurs around the internet that you should be able to like test the oil from a Bigfoot's handprint, and that would for sure prove Bigfoot to be real. And I looked into it a little bit, and it is possible to test, like, test fingerprints. It is possible. However, it's like, from what I understand, it's really hard to actually glean a perfect understanding of what the creature would be. So I would love to get more into that and get more into the science of how that could actually work. I think people that are, boots on the ground that are out there who really want to be able to collect this evidence and send it to scientists, I think these are the kinds of stories that really need to be covered so that we can better connect scientists with researchers.
Okay, but is there a UFO story, a Bigfoot story, a consciousness or paranormal story out there that you want to look into?
Are you asking me like a story that's woo? Like a woo story?
Sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would say the I guess I would want to look more into this transdimensional stuff and see if there is actually any scientific evidence from what we know in science, if there could actually be like a bridgeable gap with that. I know that book just recently came out on the topic, but I looked into it a bit and I still am not 100% convinced, but that doesn't mean that I don't think that more needs to be done about it. Just in general in paranormal, I think that there's a lot of research, scientific research that's actually going towards ESP. And I know the Institute of Noetic Sciences is doing a lot with that, and it's often ignored, these studies. So I would love to illuminate them and then get other scientists' opinions on those kinds of things. I would say that those two things are what I'm most interested in. Oh, also, I'm very interested in the Invisible College. I think that would be really cool to even like, these guys are supposed to be anonymous, right? But it's like even to really delve deeply into that and see what their perspectives are and do like a great big piece on that and what's to come in the future with how we look at science and how we maneuver around it. I think that's really exciting. I think that's very cool.
One of the things I know you're interested in is the psychedelics that people are using in regards to trying to communicate with extraterrestrials or other higher dimensional beings. Do you really think that we should be using these type of drugs, whether it's LSD going old school or ayahuasca, which is more of a popular thing to do now because it's a little bit more natural? And are we actually communicating with our higher selves, or are we just on one really good trip?
Well, that's the big question, right? It's like you know, a lot of people have like similar experiences when they're on certain kinds of, mushrooms or psychedelics. Like I think there's this one particular being. It's like this black being, almost like a goo, like lava thing that a lot of people will see during their trips. And some people think like, oh, that's like an alien or some sort of spiritual being, but it could just be that particular mushroom or that particular, psychedelic makes you see this particular thing. I always like to bring up this one funny story I had read a while ago about all these raccoons that ate the same berries, and like they all got really high on these berries and they had all the same behavior, It's like nobody is sitting around saying like these raccoons like had some sort of experience with some sort of ethereal being. They're just like, they were high on berries, right? It's like, would we apply the same thing to us? Now, I think it's very possible that psychedelics could be a way to allow us to connect better with the whole universe, right? Because those are generally about kind of an ego death where we see ourselves as, not separate. We're all like one thing, and we're all experiencing one thing, depending on the trip, of course. I think that could illuminate certain things for us. I do believe that. But again, just my opinion, y'all.
Well, I guess that's one way to look at it, but there are dangers to it too, because we don't know what the side effects are to each and every person. Everybody's going to handle it differently. Yet there seems to be a collective consciousness out there that believes that in order to communicate with aliens or to find that spiritual zen that we are all searching for in the meaning of life, you have to be taking these narcotics to get there.
Yeah, well, I would say no. You don't have to use drugs in order to get to a certain, under enlightenment or technically an ego death. That's not always the way. There are other practices that you can do, and I think one of the reasons meditation is growing in popularity is because people are realizing that they can connect with, a more spiritual state, a more enlightened state, just by breathing and being aware of where they are in the universe. It doesn't necessarily have to be you imagining a black lava monster, in order to understand your place in the universe.
Okay. So do you think, though, that the way people are talking about using this, that we should be investigating, whether even on a scientific level, that we should be trying these out to see where we can go or what we can learn from a higher being or a higher entity?
Terence McKenna said that psychedelics will teach us about the universe the way a microscope like allows scientists to get a closer look at like whatever it is they're focusing on. That's what he thinks. That's what he believes. My whole perspective on this is just to each their own. And for example, okay, I have never taken psychedelics and would probably freak out. Like, I have a feeling I wouldn't do too well with them because I'm a very anxious person. And so maybe if I took psychedelics, my whole perspective on UFOs would be like, oh, they definitely can't be real or whatever, right? I just don't know. Dave, I wish I had I wish I had better answers, and I wish I knew. I just don't know.
I can tell you this, with some of my experiences that I've had personally, I wish I was high to take them away or to enjoy them a little bit more. See, maybe I'm in the minority here, but I don't think you need the psychedelics at all. I really don't, because I think it's in each and every one of us to be able to have that type of communication if you want it. You just have to have something that sparks it. It's much like a vehicle engine. There has to be a spark in order to make it run.
What is it? Like, what do you think the spark is? Is it just paranormal experience? Is that all?
That I don't know. That I really don't know. I know for me, it was seeing the angel of death in my mother's eyes. And that was the catalyst to make everything start. You know, and I think, you know, we hear a lot of people where all of a sudden they have something traumatic happen to them, maybe a death in the family, or maybe they're in a car accident, or maybe they have a near-death experience where all of a sudden everything opens up. But that doesn't account for a lot of people who claim that, look, I'm a psychic because my mother was psychic, my grandmother was psychic, my great-grandfather was psychic, and it's been passed down the timeline. Same with ET contact, where we hear about these abductions. I know there's a case here in British Columbia with a lady named Corina Sables where, you know, she started being abducted, then her daughters started being abducted, now her grandchildren are being abducted. You know, so is there something to these lines of these bloodlines of this phenomena happening? So I think there's a lot of different ways in order to do it, and I do believe, though, that there are more people like me who just seem to get thrust into this for no apparent reason, or maybe a life-changing experience because we have something to offer that we haven't been able to humanly figure out yet.
Yeah, so I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but to me it wouldn't be insane to think that different people are capable of different things. It's like let's say we said, okay, the universe is one big thing. Let's just say it's one living thing for the sake of this conversation. And humans, just because we are all the same, you know, we're humans, doesn't mean that we all don't serve different functions in this giant universe body. Right? It's like white blood cells do, you know, different things than like red blood cells, and like, you know, other bacteria and stuff in the body all have their own roles to play, you know, in this, in our body. So if you think about humans, to me, it would make sense that like maybe I am not going to offer everything that you offer, you know, and I won't have these experiences, but maybe my purpose or maybe my service in life is to be able to talk to you and write about these things so other people listen, you know, and maybe my inability to experience those things, you know, should I have an inability, maybe my inability is actually, you know, it helps. It's good. I like to think about that idea, just because I just don't know if everybody has it. I know that the only people that say that everybody has the ability to tap into it are people that have done it. And so like, who knows?
What would you do if it happened to you? How do you think you would react?
I think that I think if I had a paranormal experience, I think I would be honest about it, but I think it would take me a while. And I think I would be afraid to talk about it, because I don't want to jeopardize my career. However, I would figure out how to do it in a way that would work. I always figure it out. I am never going to not write something that I want to write, as is evidenced by my career. So if I think something is important and I think it's true and I think people need to know it, They will know it from me.
So what story do you want to write?
Just about what next? Or just what story do I...
We all have that story we want to write.
Uh-huh.
You know, would it be... would you want to write a story about alien abduction, which includes an encounter that you have had? Would you want to write that Bigfoot story where maybe you're kidnapped for a week, living with these monstrous creatures, much like Albert Ostman did back in the 1920s, 30s?
I mean, I think it would be really cool to be able to, like, if Bigfoot were real and I could somehow talk to them, I think it would be so cool to be able to have that experience and like record what happened and be on the scene in that way. I think that would be really cool. I think I'm a little scared of aliens. I think I'm more scared of aliens than I am of Bigfoot. Just because I feel like Bigfoot are probably flesh and blood beings of the earth. I feel like I could probably figure them out a bit more. I mean, I think what I would really love to experience is plant communication. I know a lot of people that are very near and dear to me who aren't nuts, and also scientists who say that they've actually had communication with plants, like psychic communication. I think that would be extremely cool. I absolutely love UFOs. I love the topic. But to me, I just think there's so little we actually know about Earth and what it's like to be here, that to me, plants are like alien life. And I want to get to know them, and I want to figure out how to do that. I would do a dieta, which is when you just eat the plant over the course of like a couple months, and all you do is just have the plant and like rice and beans and like not a ton of stimulation, and then the plant just starts talking to you because you're completely getting rid of all the outside stimulation. This is what I'm told. I think that would be a really cool story to write if it worked. Otherwise, it's just like, oh, that's poop.
That's a lot of mushrooms. That's a lot of mushrooms. Okay, we only got about 2 minutes left here with you, so I'm going to quickly fire off one final question for you. Mm-hmm. If you could have the smoking gun evidence that aliens are real, Bigfoot is real, and you got that smoking gun video or found a body or something, would you release it to the public?
I would absolutely 100% find every possible way to do so. Yes. No question.
You'd be ready and prepared with your bodyguards in order to receive decades worth of harassment, much like the Patterson-Gimlin film.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of sharing evidence that's real. If it's true, it will always come out on top. As much as suppression happens, the truth always wins historically. Like over time, it always does. And I really believe in that, and I believe it's worth fighting for.
30 seconds. Tell everybody where they can find your work.
Hey, all. You can go to ChrissyElliott.com. You can find me on Twitter. Find me on Instagram, Chrissy Elliott. You can also find me on Facebook. I'm just Chrissy Elliott everywhere. Google me. I'm very Googleable. And also send me all of your tips. I want to know if there are any scoops. I want to report on the cool stuff. Give it to me. Give it to me, baby.
Woo.
Woo.
There you go. Chrissy, I want to say a big thank you for coming on Spaced Out Radio. I think you're one of the bright young stars that is going to be able to take this field forward, and we need more of you out there, and I think it's going to benefit the entire UFO paranormal cryptid world. Keep up the great work, and I look forward to seeing what you're going to accomplish, because I want to be one of those guys like 10 years down the road that says, I know her. I know her. You know, she won't talk to me now, but I know her. I met her once. She didn't allow me to make eye contact. Chrissy Elliott, everyone. Coming up next, we're going to have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this.
Nice one.
Great job. Great job. And I mean that. I look forward to big things out of you. The best advice that I could give you, and I don't mind saying it in front of our YouTube channel, is there's a lot of shysters out there, a lot of people who will make you a lot of promises. I know you being involved with Dave Altman, he's going to make sure that you really stay out of those crowds, and he's good for protecting his clients, and I have a lot of time and respect and love and admiration for Dave. But the best advice I could give you, and I've given it to other people who've taken it and other people who have not and end up getting burnt really bad in this field, is just be careful with who you associate with. Mm-hmm. This is an ugly field that is always looking for that next young, beautiful up-and-comer who is potentially going to be a rock star in this field, and they don't give a shit how they quash you, but they've ruined a lot of people. So just I know you're a smart woman, keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, and if there's red flags, just stay away. I will. That's what I've tried to do. But you've got great representation in Dave, and you should be proud of what you've accomplished. I know what you are going to accomplish in this field, so it's written all over you.
Oh, thank you so much. So sweet. Anytime.
And stay in touch, and we will keep working hard together, because there's very few of us true journalists in this field, and stay away from the fake ones. They're easy to find.
Will do.
They're easy to find. Most of them are on television, and remember, they don't know what the beat is.
They don't.
We
got the beat. We got the beat, Dave.
Tell me about it. I will be your Belinda Carlisle.
Oh, Belinda.
Take care.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Nice young lady. Very, very nice young lady. I like her. I think she's smart. I think she's got fantastic reputation building for her. I think that she being involved with somebody like Dave Altman, who is a very, very brilliant representative to many in this community behind the scenes. I think that is massive to have her there, and Dave's representation, somebody I respect a lot of in this field. And I think that once she gets fully established in covering this from a mainstream level, I think that she is going to be an absolute rock star in this field. I just hope she doesn't get burnt out. I hope that she makes sure that she hangs with the right people, so to speak. Hi, Anita Torres. How are you? So, and I know Dave will steer her in the right direction. That's the cool part. I think he's going to do amazing with her. Really do. What do you get, Chris Mo? We get it, Dave. I'm noting your sarcasm, Chris Mo. Hey, MPM, how are you? Welcome to the chat room. Chris, if you came in at the beginning of the show, she actually reminds me a lot of my daughter. And from like this part up, Her and my daughter look like twins. Oob to Joe's Maine. You've got aliens. No BS on that. No BS on that. Hey, Devin, how you doing, man? We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. I want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show,